So I would like to just welcome everyone today to our final Nearpod Summer Series. We're super excited to have two teachers with us today who are willing to share their expertise in the classroom. We have Marty Chen, who is a dual language immersion teacher in Weber School District, and we have Katie Ross, who is a music teacher in Jordan School District. So we're super excited to have them with us, sharing how they are using Nearpod in their, what I'm calling specialty classrooms. So kind of outside of what we would consider our core classes. And I feel like there are so many valuable ways in Nearpod that you could use the different tools and activities to really reach different groups of students using different content. So I was excited when they volunteered to join us today. Katie's going to go first. She's going to share what she's doing in her music classroom. And then we'll spend about 20 minutes there. If you have specific questions for Katie, you can type those in the chat. I'll be kind of moderating that, but then we'll also give a few minutes time for you to just unmute yourself and ask Katie directly if you have some questions. And then we'll turn the time over to Marty. She'll spend about 20 minutes as well. And then some 5 minutes-ish on questions also. At the end, there is credit for participating today. So I'll make sure I send the credit request form in the chat for you guys to fill out so you can get credit for being here. But if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to turn the time over to Katie, and she's going to share her screen and get us started.
Hi, I'm Katie. I have been going by Katie Ross, but I got married over the summer. So now I am a Hijazi Far, very, very Persian. I am excited to have an exotic last name. So I am excited to share what I've been doing in Nearpod in my music classroom, but this could be easily transferable, I think, to other specialty classrooms, meaning like art or library or maybe STEM or any of those other specialties at the elementary level that we have, but I think it can be applied up higher as well. Actually, I know it can be applied up higher. When Nearpod came out with a bunch of these really cool add-ons, I was waiting to just jump in and figure out how to use these in my music classroom, and the ones that they are adding more and more of, I'm just like, yes, I can use this, I can use this, I can use this. So being able to use technology in my classroom now that a lot of our schools are 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 or really close to being like that, I have been wanting to integrate technology into the music room. So I'm going to invite you guys to a Nearpod lesson, and this is, I kind of squished 2 Nearpod lessons that I've done before in the past, just to show you the different ways that I've been using Nearpod in my music room. This is the live participation code. So if you wanted to participate, or you can just follow along with me on here, because I'll just do student view as well. It is ZWHSL, ZWHSL, and that will be at the top of my screen. If you guys don't get logged in, or if you come in a little bit later. So ZWHSL. I have started with a song because I was exploring the different things I could put inside Nearpod. I don't think the recording button was necessary on this, but I wanted to use it as an example of what we can do. You can record your voice over a slide, and this one was just used as a quick review of the song. These are not the lyrics to the song. I just wanted my students to review the song that they had already learned in the past like couple weeks of my class. So this song is Old Brass Wagon. Please excuse, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. I'm going to try. I know there's some special voodoo that you need to do to get your sound to play through the computer, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. If not, you can probably hear it on your end if you press play. Circle to the left, old brass wagon. Circle to the left, old brass wagon. Circle to the left, old brass wagon. You're the one, my darling. Circle to the right, old brass wagon. Circle to the right, old brass wagon. Circle to the right, old brass wagon. You're the one, my darling. Okay, I'll save you from the rest of that. So I just had my kids sing and pat a steady beat with that. So that was just a review. if we did it together, or I can assign this as a center and they don't need me for this. They could just press the play button and review the song themselves, which was way cool when I figured out that I could record my voice. So my next slide is just singing the song to the steady beat. In my classroom and at elementary level, I don't know what level everybody teaches in here. I do see a familiar music educator at the elementary level. Hi, Autumn. But we at the elementary level, we like to use a lot of symbols, and the hearts represent the steady beat or the heartbeat of the music. So when we're singing the song, it's circle to the left, old brass wagon, circle to the left, old brass wagon, circle to the left, old brass wagon, you're the one, my darling. And we practice it a lot to the steady beat, singing and patting the steady beat, yada, yada, yada. So they could, I teach them in kindergarten that the heart is the steady beat. So this is a lesson I use in 3rd grade. So by the time they get to 3rd grade, when they see a heart, they know that that's one beat. So when we get to my next one, I like to now integrate syllables and things like that into my music classroom. This is a newer thing that as part of a grant for the state, the grant's not new, but I'm new to the grant within the last 5 years. So I had to adapt a lot of my lessons to fit into integrating core curriculum into my music classroom. So this is one of the ways that I integrate language arts like syllables and fluency and things like that into my music classroom, which is really cool. So all they have to do is drag the number of syllables that there are per beat. And the reason that I do this is because this is setting them up to learn a new rhythm. So if I have circle to that has 4 syllables on the beat. So I just have them drag the 4 over. Left is 1. Old brass would be 2. And we go over or review how to find syllables per beat. Now I do understand that old and brass are 2 different words and each one has 1 syllable, but as we're trying to notate rhythms and notate poems, the students understand that they are notating total number of syllables on the beat. So wagon would be 2, and they would just go through all of this and just figure out how many syllables per beat, because this number directly relates to a rhythm that they are learning or they already know. So that would look, this is just a review slide. Oh, just kidding. I'll play this video for you guys. This one is a little video because I got excited when I figured out I could put videos in and then stop them and ask questions. I was just like, this is so cool. So I have them read this or watch this video with her. This is not me. This is a music teacher going over these notes right here, the 16th notes, which have the 4, you can see the 4 little dots here. That's the 4 syllables in one beat. I'm not going to make you watch this just for the sake of time, but we have, once you press play and it gets to these blue dots down here, it's a question that I put into the video. The video didn't already have these. This video is just from YouTube, which is way cool. I don't know if I'm just nerding out here, but I just thought I don't know. I thought it was cool.
I would love if you would at least just show to that first little dot so they can see that question. I think that'd be awesome.
Sure. So she's teaching here what we call it. So we're going to call it tika tika. I know some music teachers call it something else, but this is what I teach in my classroom. So if I play this.
So tika tika is actually 1, 2, 3, 4 sounds.
So she was saying, she had already said tika tika is 4 sounds. How many syllables is tika tika? So if we go tika tika, it is 4 syllables in tika tika. She explains that tika tika is 4 sounds on one beat, but me being an integration teacher, I have to be very careful between the word sounds and the word syllables, because at the kindergarten and 1st grade level, if you say the word how many sounds are in a word, they go k, a, t, and they'll say 3, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted the syllables. So I have to be very, very careful with my wording as I'm integrating. So it looks here, this is the teacher view, obviously. So you guys could see it. You guys 100% correct. And then if I can, I just repress the play button and then it continues to go for
All
the kids.
connected under a double ceiling. So you know what TT looks like. TT has 2 sounds under a single ceiling, but Tika Tika is 4 sounds under a double ceiling. The fancy official musical name for these notes are 16th notes. So a Tika Tika.
So my next question is, what's the fancy musical name for these notes? It is kind of hard to stop it right when you're supposed to stop it. I'm still trying to figure that out, but to put the question right where I want it, but I'm sure there's an easy way to figure that out. So yeah, good. Congratulations, everybody. You're great. I know I'm kind of moving really quickly through the rhythm part of it, but learning rhythms wasn't the point that I was trying to make in here. The kids are learning rhythms, but you guys are learning how I use Nearpod. I do see one. Oh, thanks, Jamie. All right, so next, I left the matching game, student view. Okay, so this is were you guys able to go back to this one? Okay, good. So this is a totally new lesson that I do. It's an integrated lesson that I review coins with my students with like 1st grade and 2nd grade math. So we're reviewing coins. So this one's just a matching game where you have to match the picture of the coin to its name, which is really, really fun, especially as an adult. It's fun to play with. I'm just gonna move through these. I think you guys are probably done by now. And so here's the next one, which musically my students should already know these, but this one right here with the single ceiling, the 2 with the single ceiling, those are paired eighth notes. The one with the donut hole, that's going to be your half note. The one that's filled in is going to be your quarter note. The one that looks like a hat is your half rest. And the one that I just call this a wonky squiggly line, that's going to be your quarter rest. So the students are just reviewing that. Because I do this at like 2nd grade, so we are not learning like the more complicated rhythms of that first video. That's more 3rd grade. So I say, remember, words with 1 syllable in the beat, get the quarter note there, and words with 2 syllables, you see the 2 little dots there, that's going to be the paired eighth notes, or we call that one TT, TT and ta. You can even hear that TT has 2 syllables and ta has 1 syllable. So then I have them drop the correct rhythm into, drop the correct rhythm. Oh, that's good to know. I gotta fix that. So you drag and drop. Oh, it's a drag drop, a drap. Drag and drop the correct rhythm over. So ball has 1 syllable, so they would just drag and drop this one. And this is an easy assessment for me because I could see who's understanding and who's not understanding. The next one's gonna be 2 syllables. Notebook. Drag and drop the quarter or the paired eighth notes. And then I have them decode the whole poem. So this is a penny poem that they learn from me if they're not learning it in class. So it just goes, penny, penny, easily spent, copper brown and worth 1 cent. So they just drag and drop. So really this, the things in Nearpod that I'm using is the drag and drop function. When that came out, I was like, drag and drop. I also use the drag and drop for sorting instruments, like woodwind versus brass instruments, and they have pictures of the instruments and they have to drag and drop it into like a T sort chart. So I'm using the drag and drop a lot. I'm using the matching pairs a lot, which I know the matching pairs have been around for a long time, but it's really, there's countless of ways you can use the matching. So I'm using the importing the YouTube video straight from YouTube. I didn't have to download the video or anything like that. It came straight from YouTube with no ads or anything. And I put the questions in where I wanted them. It's a great sub lesson too, if you feel comfortable having your students come in, especially there's no music subs ever. So having a music or art or anything like that, having a music sub or a music activity that they could do on Nearpod, all I do is I write the class or the code on the board, and then the kids either bring their computers or use my class set and they can use Nearpod, and I can see them if I decide to log on, how they're doing in real time as I'm not there. So That's a little neurotic. I don't do that, but so there's just things like that. So I have a penny poem. I gave you a bunch of poems that you could look at, but penny, I think I have nickel and quarter. So they just drag and drop these. I used to have this on paper and pencil, but I felt like dragging and dropping was way more fun for them. So anyways, I kind of tried to speed through that. I hope that wasn't too speedy. Does anybody have any questions about, this was just like surface level of how I've used Nearpod, like just in the last year in my classroom, in my music classroom, elementary music classroom.
That was awesome, Katie. Thanks so much. And I guess I haven't been in the classroom recently enough to know that you're doing so much integration in music with English and with math and all of these other, disciplines. And so using Nearpod to not only, teach what you need to for your curriculum, but also doing that like crosswalk idea of adding in ELA and math is just awesome. So it was great to see that as well.
That's the basis of the statewide grant. It's the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Arts Learning Plan grant. So Autumn is also on this Zoom. She's part of the grant as well. But that's our main focus. There's a lot of other focuses, but our main focus is trying to connect everything. But we have integration, music teachers, dance teachers, drama teachers, art teachers. We are starting media arts, and I don't know, it's just really cool the way that the program is set up. So that's a nerd for it.
Yeah, no, that's really amazing. And I love too that your students have such an opportunity using Nearpod that they can do some self-directed learning and learning at their own pace and kind of, a little bit of, reviewing on their own, while you're also working with other students doing other things. So I think that just, using Nearpod in that way with the videos, with the drag and drop is just really opening up opportunities, for your classroom and teaching and doing blended learning as well. So yeah, I love that. Thanks so much for sharing. Does anyone else have any last minute questions for Katie? Awesome, Katie. Thanks so much. We're going to turn the time over now to Marty and let Marty share her screen, and she can show us how she's using Nearpod in her dual language immersion class in Chinese.
Hi, I'm Marty Chen, and I've been teaching Chinese since 2009. I was teaching English in from 2003, but I changed to Chinese immersion. But now I'm teaching high school. So this is a high school class. It's a very typical high school one, but my student won't see these two screens. But because unless we have any Chinese speaking teachers here, do we have any? If you have, raise your hand. And otherwise, that's why I show these two screens here so you can see what I'm doing on both sides. Because when I'm teaching Chinese, I worry that I might overwhelm my student with too many information. So I often like to put animation on my Google. So most of my Nearpod lesson, they're from, well, I created from the Google slide. We know we can do it that way. So this is when the kids come in, they have to chit chat with each other. I have a timer, so they have to use this sentence to ask. And this is before Christmas. We're talking about, oh, what kind of gift do you want? So they just have a minute or so to kind of warm up themselves. Then my next one is they want to count down. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. When I'm asking my students to write, they had to practice first. And because this is in high school, it's A day, B day. I don't want to assume they remember how to write it. So I really need this here. And in fact, I can do it on the Nearpod because they does show GIF pictures too. But because I have more animation on the Google slide. So normally I will add this Nearpod next to it, and I will just switch back and forth between two tabs. And then when after student practice this one, writing this, they have to stand up, talk to each other. Then we're going to go into this Nearpod lesson. And this is the one. So this is the one that we're going to start. So like the first page, you can see the time won't work. And Now we just practice this part. So the student will have to pick the right answer. It's just a short quiz. It's really, really fast. And I have to start the activity and then you can pick which answer. Let's see all these teachers. How's your Chinese now? You have 3 minutes. And this is one feature that I really, really love about Nearpod. They give you the timer there and you can do it right away. You can guess it. So 星期天. So the first question is this one. The next one is 星期一. Next one, 星期二. Next one.
Marty, I have a question as
Yes.
as I'm looking at this. So in Nearpod, were you able to find the Chinese characters that you needed
Yes,
in Nearpod?
well, I just type in Chinese.
Just typing in Chinese and then they
Yes.
show up right there in Nearpod. Awesome.
Yes, yes, it's very easy. Oh, we have some that gets it right. Lucky. Wow, sorry, I should not say lucky. Good. And then, so the next part, we're gonna review again. So I will click on my top tab because I don't have a smart board. So I just had to use my trackball wireless mouse. So I would just move my cursor and so I can walk around everywhere in my classroom to do this. Then I will click on this. Then the student will review this part. And they have to ask each other. And the next one is the same thing that here. This is the same game that Katie just showed us. So my student had to match the word with the correct sound. So you can see I don't use translation because if I use translation, then they will be remembering more of the English, not the Chinese. So I'm kind of forcing them to practice this with me. And this so far is still going back to we are still reviewing the date and the months still up to this point. And then we're going to do some review. We always do some review because like what Jamie was saying earlier, we always hope student won't miss class, but that's only in the ideal world. We have kids miss class all the time. So then we're gonna practice. I still put a timer there. Then after the practice, they are gonna go in here. They are going to answer the question and they have to pop it up here. They just have to type and they can see the question here because I can go back and forth. And then the student, yay, good job, Catherine. So, and I like the student, mostly I will set it up, student will be able to, the collaborate board, has really great function right now. They can work as Padlet. I don't know if anybody has used Padlet before, but right now the new collaborate board, they have this function that you can do one question and everybody can type beneath it and you can respond to other people's and you can give them heart, you can reply. So I feel that's a really, really greatly improved. I don't know if anybody has used this function, but it's really perfect for my classroom because I really want them to use the language to interact with others, not just orally, but also in the writing form, because when they're writing email response, that's a very important skill. We need to start from, we need to build the skills gradually. We're still in the date. We're talking about the holiday, and because there's a different way to say it, the months before last month, and this month. So we had to keep focusing on this, and I use a picture to help them to make the connection. Now it's fill in the blank. Now we review the sentences, and now they can fill in the blank. they had to tell me if they can. Now we can view the answers here. So the student can see what they're supposed to do. And I have this question in here. Wow, Catherine, good job. But you also know the feature is I normally will hide student's name. So this is a part you get to see. I don't see it now. Okay, show student name and answer. I can hide student's name. It's not letting me do it, but maybe it's because I shrink it, so I don't see it right now. So this is a fun activity that I like to do, and it's very important for my student to see the Chinese sentence this way, because the Chinese grammar and the English grammar, they're so different. The time and the place is always in the front of the sentence in Chinese structure, so we had to practice this a lot. And now this is what I was talking about. I can publish my Google slide and then put it in the web content in Nearpod, but the Nearpod will have to see the whole, it runs through unless I make many mini Google slides and publish them all. And I think that's just too much trouble for me to handle. So that's why I just chose to do this way. It's a bit easier. And now we're talking about time. It's another review. Okay, we have chat. Yes, the column feature. That is perfect. Thanks, Daniel. And now we're asking the questions. This is not immersion students, so sometimes I will put some English there. If it's immersion class, it has to be 100% in target language, no matter it's Spanish, French, or Portuguese or Chinese. But this is a world language class, so they started taking Chinese in high school. So sometimes I will put a little bit English there to help them. Don't want to create frustration, and then I have to draw the hour hand here. Let's see how many can draw this hour. And there's no right or wrong answer. So you just have to draw it and then write down the number. You can type, you can also draw. And when you are done, you can just submit it. And I like this part when I hide all my students' name and they feel more comfortable doing that. Now you can see the names are hidden. And when they submit the work, so I cannot show anyone's work yet, but when they submit their work, I feel the great function here is you can highlight the student they did it correctly. Then the other student, if they have problem with it, they can quickly fix theirs. And I also give them time to remind them how much time they have left. And just remember, you can also type it if you don't want to use your mouse or your finger to draw it. Oh, okay, this one is finished. So I can share with anyone. So now your screen will be looking at this student's work only. So you can see, oh, it's 6:55. And then when you are done, then you can see everybody is done. And you have 41 seconds. You can tell the kids, hey, hurry, quickly. So this is also a very good tool for assessment. Now I'm doing more sentence review, we're talking, and then the student also, again, they had to come in. I have the tool for them to go through it again, practice with their friend, and fill in the sentence, which is the word. And I already give them, you can see, this is a strong scaffolding, I should take it off, but I put the question mark and period, so you know this should go into the end. So the other one's just like that. Thanks, Jimmy. Yes, because I want the student to feel confident to do that. And I don't want them to feel I'm making mistake, and to write it sometimes can be very, very long. So the fill in one, it help them to see the sentence structure really, really well. And that's one thing I got from our training, last year training. We want the student to always has a mental break. So, and this part, we want their brain to jump off while we're doing, just like quickly, let's talk about food. And we just use 1 minute to talk about, but you still need to practice in the full sentence. I have 3 options here, which one you want to eat. And if you cannot say the food's name, you just say the number. And I will walk around to listen to the kids, or we just put it in the circles. Everybody stand in a circle. We just talk to the student next to us, the kid next to us. So either way will work. So to me, this is okay. Let's take 1 minute off, and our brain can restart again. Then we can go into the lesson again. Now we're gonna go into this lesson. It's about restaurant. So the student will know, okay, here we have a waiter, we have the guest here, and I would take them to read these words one at a time. And I would say, okay, read the box in the blue, read the box in the pink. And then doing this way, they were reviewing colors, and then they're reading with me. Then quickly the student will have to stand up, practice with each other. And the student get to see the whole thing here. And here is the part. I will quickly right away do a short you have to answer the question. What we just read. If the waiter say this, what's your answer? So this part they have to type it. And quite often, after they type it, I still want them to record their answer, because Chinese, the tone is quite different. It's hard to copy sometimes. So that's why I will do it this way, to help the student to go through it. And so we read a little bit, practice listening, speaking, listening, speaking, listening, speaking. Then we'll go back to this part. Then they have to answer the questions again. The student is, oh, can you place the order now? And then the student had to try their answer here. And just repeat, we keep repeating this order, so the student will get a hang of it. They say, okay, now, and since we've been practicing so many sentences now, here, there's a different questions. So they will have to say it, and then this part, next part, coming to little quiz again. And you can show them the pictures on the board and ask the student which sentence can work with it. Since all my students, they will have their Chromebook, so they were looking at their Chromebook when I will be in front of them, showing them the picture, and I want them to kind of go back and forth, and then they will give me the answer. I hope you guys are having fun learning Chinese today. And here's the restaurant question. That's the part. So this is what I do a lot. I need to use a lot of picture, and like I say, I don't want to overwhelm students with so many Chinese writing right there. This is for my Chinese 3 students, and they've been learning Chinese 3 years. Really not a long time, because we AB schedule, and they don't have all this time. They don't have the immersion environment there. Now I have the little quiz. They have to answer the questions here. And there's more. So here's a quiz. We're talking about how can you use the words that you like, what kind of food in there. And then gradually we will go into the session is where they have to start writing their own article. And we're talking about when you're in a restaurant, how do you describe the food you like? How do you describe the spicy or sweet or sour? Then this is the part they had to learn how to use these adjectives in their Chinese writing. And then my students' job was to create a restaurant, and then they have to create the scenarios. So we have the team of students so they can start writing on the collaborate board, so they can start talking about what happened first, what the waiters will say, what the customers will say. And this is, and then there's a book, because Nearpod is really, really good to incorporate all kinds of information you want. Like this one that my student can go there, they can read books on their own, and that's the book that I already recreated with sound. They can hear it.
我喜欢吃甜的，妈妈不喜欢吃甜的。
So with the flavor, with the food, with the different kind of food item, then they're going to, so this can be embedded in the Nearpod as well. And that's what I'm going to share. If you have questions, let me know.
Awesome. Thank you, Marty, for sharing that with us. Lots of great ideas in there as well, using, and some great scaffolding for students who are trying to learn a new language. I saw that in both yours and Katie's lessons, that Nearpod's really providing you with some of those supports to help you scaffold those lessons, starting out with that fill in the blank where you're kind of giving them some of that content to where they're able to then turn around and answer the questions on their own. Also having that support of doing some recording of their own voices. So, and I love that web link at the end, to be able to pull in that second, set of content from somewhere else that you've already built it. You have that book ready to go, and you can just drop that right into your Nearpod lesson. That was awesome as well. So is there anyone that has questions for Marty specifically about how she's using Nearpod in her classroom?
May I add one thing? There's
Yeah,
one thing about Nearpod I really like is the report. Because, because I know Katie mentioned this, we can send the student paste link home for the student who cannot be there that day. And when we go into the report, it was perfect. I can see which part they did it right, and when they did it. And if they didn't do it, I can send them a reminder again. So to see the report, and it really saved me a lot of time to figure out what the student needs help with.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I think sometimes, we get in and we start teaching, especially in this summer series, we're just showing everything, but really important behind the scenes is that Nearpod's gathering that data for you so that then you can, kind of get a bigger picture of how your students are doing and what they need additional support on. So Marty, thank you so much for bringing that up. Yeah, that's definitely a valuable tool. And if you haven't seen it yet, Nearpod has done some updates to their reports just a couple of weeks ago. So if you haven't seen that yet, you'll want to jump in and take a look at those and just see some of the updates that have happened. Yeah. And I interrupted. Does anyone have questions for Marty? I'm super excited about what was shared today between Katie and Marty, because I feel like we saw a variety of tools that were being used. So we're seeing the drag and drop, the draw it, the fill in the blank, the videos, just a variety, the quizzes, a variety of different tools that, could span from Katie teaching elementary music with English and math, to Marty teaching high school using the same resource, because there is a variety of tools in there to meet the needs of your students. So I love the combo of what was shared today, and I appreciate both of you sharing your expertise with us today. But if we don't have any final questions, again, thank you to Katie and to Marty for sharing with us today. We appreciate you, especially so close to school getting started, and some of you are probably in school right now. We appreciate you joining us today. Good luck this school year as well. Thanks, everyone.